That's better. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, so we're recording, and I have kept an eye ear on the TV, and then I've been pretty focused on working as well, calling different people. So if you've been paying more attention to what's going on the TV, you may know a little bit more than I do. I have been able to talk to a local congressman, a representative from St. Augustine Beach. He was on the floor of the House, described that he heard bangs. He's a former Green Beret, thought they sounded like flashbangs, told to put on masks, and then quickly evacuated out of there.
Right. So that means probably law enforcement deployed gas at that point somewhere.
And I was wondering if it was the law enforcement or if it was somebody who was trying to come in.
No, I would think maybe possibly law enforcement may have deployed some form of type of gas to control movement of people. You know, I don't know that for certain, but that sounds like that's what happened.
Okay.
I do know that, or at least it's being reported on a national level, that someone was shot. Sounds like one person was shot and taken to the hospital. Don't know the status of that individual. Don't know why they shot him. Or maybe a female, I think. I'm not certain of that. But again, you know, I think at the onset of this, it was meant to be a peaceful protest, like most of them are. And unfortunately, there's always that certain element of people that may have gone there with bad intentions to begin with, that are part of the crowd, and it's unfortunate, but those are the ones the police have to deal with.
I spoke to another woman who usually works very close to the Capitol, but she said those of us who are wise and were able to did not go to work today, or at least go to work in that office today.
Right.
They were expecting something to happen, not to the extent of what took place and what is taking place, but she kind of said the word on the street was, well, if you didn't have to go in, don't go in.
Right. The sheer numbers alone kind of keep people from having to, or would keep people from their normal work day, especially in and around the Capitol area and around the White House. When you have that many people that are going to be present, even if it were to be peaceful, that's going to disrupt a lot of workers.
She was surprised, and let me get your thoughts on this, about, I guess, the lack of readiness for this kind of incident. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there might be, they may have probably had a little bit of should have had more of a police presence there to begin with. I don't know if they anticipated that many people coming. You know, it's always good to have police presence no matter what, just in case somebody were to show up from another point of view. And next thing you know, there's, then there's going to be some type of engagement that's not good. That hasn't happened, I don't think. But I do think you've had a lot of people show up here that had good intentions maybe to protest, but at the same time, you had a few that didn't have that intention and planned on creating some type of chaos, and that's what happened.
Let's talk about the response from law enforcement. Describe it for me, because like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot, but what I have seen seemed like in Statuary Hall, protesters just coming on in, and the guards are kind of standing back. Looked very outnumbered. What's your take?
Well, I mean, you don't want to, obviously, I mean, you have uniformed Secret Service people there. You have White House or Capitol Police there. I don't know the numbers that were there as far as law enforcement goes, but if they're outnumbered and they don't want to sit there and engage them in an all-out a fray or a fight, they want to peacefully get these people back out of the building. And that's the goal and objective. You set a line of demarcation and you say, this is it, this is what we're going to let you do, and this is what we're not going to let you do. They can't enter the building and they can't stop government business. That's not peaceful at that point. You're stepping over the line then.
Maybe this is out of your area of knowledge, but I caught half of a sentence about who can go in to the Capitol building. I mean, I've gone in as a tourist, but who can go in and who can't? And do you know the ins and outs of that?
Public is allowed to enter the Capitol building. There's certain ways that they can enter, as well as the White House. I mean, there's certain access points that public is allowed. at some point when you have a high volume of number of people and they're pushing their way into governmental areas to where there's business being conducted, they can't do that. That's not appropriate, and that's not allowed. There are public areas that they can enter into, but you can't have sheer numbers pushing their way into stopping congressional meetings, things like that. That's never allowed. You know, I participated from with other groups and gone to the White House, and it's always prearranged. People know we're coming. We do meet with congressional representatives or staffers. They know where we know where we can go, and we're told where we can go. There's nothing wrong with any of that, and because you know it is the building of the people, but at the same time, it's got to be respected that there is government work going on. When that is infringed upon, then that's got to be addressed.
And I know you weren't there, but when a decision is made to evacuate the floor of the House while it's in session, does that require a whole lot of, I mean, does a large threat prompt that? Or is it just even a medium-sized threat that would prompt something like that?
I think they assess what the crowd's doing, and then they make that determination to protect the people within the building. So they do the evacuation. They assess what's going on. They see people pushing forward that are not obeying lawful commands, and they say, you know what, we have to first and foremost protect the people that are part of a government and get them away from that problem. And that's what they did.
Overall, what's your take on the way that law enforcement responded to what you've seen?
I mean, I think they're doing what they have to do. I think the National Guard is going to be eventually deployed if people don't leave. And, you know, you need some form of leadership maybe to come in and tell them to leave. Again, there's nothing wrong with peacefully protesting. We've seen that over the past year. And, you know, people have that right to assemble and they have that right to protest. What you can't do is you can't stop government business. You can't destroy things. You can't engage the police in any type of physical manner. That's not going to be, or National Guard, that's not going to be accepted, and it's not going to be tolerated.
National Guard being brought in, and some of the talk I'm hearing now is what happens at night. How do you?
Well, who knows? I mean, at night you could have a whole nother element show up. Sometimes at night people show up to commit crimes. They're not there to peacefully protest, and next thing you know, they're out assaulting people or maybe breaking into buildings. And we've seen that over the year too. You know, we've seen peaceful protests of Black Lives Matters, and then all of a sudden there's an element that's not part of them that claims to be part of them. But next thing you know, they're doing it for a whole other reason, to commit crimes and things of that nature. And that loses the message. And in this case, that could be the same way with this here. People peacefully protesting, they break up and they leave and they go away, but then another element shows up, and next thing you know, there's criminal activity occurring.
Would you do anything different than what you've seen today?
I might have had a little bit more of a police presence there, possibly. I mean, it looks like the numbers were not there. And that's only my observation, looking what I see on the television. Not being on the ground and not having anybody on the ground talking to me and letting me know that, it's kind of hard to tell what the numbers were. But I think that they maybe underestimated what was going to happen here.
You want to add anything else, Mark, that I didn't ask you?
No, I think that's it. I mean, is that what you were looking for, I hope?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Mighty strange situation, huh?
It is. It's a little different. I mean, obviously, you never want to see anybody get hurt. You want to be people that, you know, have the right to assemble and they have the right to protest. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And we've seen that happen over the course of the year. And again, there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's done in a peaceful manner and that there's guidelines set up to address that. And when that doesn't happen, then law enforcement has to do what they have to do to address, to maintain that peace.
Okay. Mark, thanks. Have a good
You're
night.
welcome.
Happy
Take
New
care.
Year.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.